talk us through your career in oil and gas and perhaps some of the highlights to date?
My career in oil and gas began in the early 2000s during my master's degree program, working a series of summer jobs as a well site geologist in East Texas, and then as an intern with ExxonMobil. And as I completed my graduate degree, I began working with ConocoPhillips in the San Juan Basin of New Mexico. At the time, most people would not consider working coal bed methane in the San Juan to be an exciting opportunity. However, I did enter the asset when horizontal drilling technology had evolved to a point where geosteering with real-time monitoring was emerging as a viable technology. This gave me the opportunity to apply cutting-edge technology to what was perceived as a declining basin. Our first well we drilled for over 1 mile in a 2-meter thick coal seam, which was unmatched at the time. And further, the massive increase in gas production using horizontal drilling technology brought new life to an old basin. Fast forward a few years, I'm living in Houston, Texas, working for an independent operator on their emerging Eagle Ford Shale resource play. A couple of months after my arrival, my business unit went through a reorganization. The organization needed a team leader to manage one of the newly formed multidisciplinary asset teams of geoscientists, petroleum engineers, and technical support staff. At the time, I had a parallel existence as a commissioned officer in the U.S. Coast Guard Reserve. Management liked that leadership background and my proven ability to work with others to deliver horizontal drilling projects. And I ended up as the asset team leader for the most valuable asset in the company's portfolio at the time. This was an exciting role as I was guiding the spend of a U.S. $300 million capital budget, coordinating the surface infrastructure build-out in tandem with developing a multi-year subsurface development plan, all while gaining valuable experience interacting daily with the drilling and completion teams, and of course, further expanding my skills as a project manager in oil and gas. However, the lure of an overseas assignment in Australia came calling. Over the previous few years, a number of my former co-workers from ConocoPhillips had made the move to work on an emerging coal seam gas play in Queensland, Australia. A colleague I'd worked closely with reached out to me and asked if I was interested in a possible move. As overseas work was always something I was interested in, I decided it was at least worth a conversation. 4 weeks later, I had a contract with BG Group and would be off to Australia with the family in a matter of months. However, I had a very specific basket of experience the company needed, as I understood the coal seam gas subsurface drivers and the interface with construction and commission timing of critical surface infrastructure. I spent a few years working for BG Group and successfully delivered a ground-up field development execution strategy and planned to bring 400 coal seam gas wells online and commission the requisite processing treatment facilities. The strategy was executed on time and in budget, with all of the wells and associated infrastructure coming online in a 5-month period. It was a very satisfying feeling to see your work implemented successfully, especially in such a large organization where it can often be difficult to make an impact. As BG Group was then acquired by an even larger organization, I felt it was time to make another move and joined Armor Energy, a junior operator in Australia. This move introduced me to one of the founders of PULSAR Helium. And 7 years later, COVID was just coming to an end, and I was moving on from Armor to take some time off and travel overseas. However, 2 weeks before my departure, I ran into that former colleague from Armor who mentioned a helium project in Minnesota, and that chance conversation 3 years ago evolved into my role as General Manager of Operations for PULSAR Helium.
What would you say are some of the key differences between working for a major compared to working for a junior?
There are a number of key differences between working for a major operator or for a junior such as PULSAR. One of the key differences is going to be in the job scope and responsibility of the roles between juniors and majors. For example, when I worked at the major companies, I had a very specific role. I worked with other disciplines closely, but our lines of responsibility were quite clear and crossing function was rare. However, in PULSAR, I wear many hats. I manage drilling, completion, and well operations, seismic acquisition operations. I'm involved in government relations and working closely with our lobbyists and local elected officials. I direct regulatory and permitting activities and also am directly involved with local stakeholder engagement. Another key difference centers around work culture and how decisions are made. In a major operator, there are more formalized processes and usually slower moving hierarchical decision-making processes. Conversely, a junior company is more entrepreneurial, where adaptability is crucial, and decision-making is often fast-paced and requires only one or two key decision makers. There are, of course, many others, but those are some key differences between the work cultures of juniors and majors.
What are some of the key skills that you've taken from your previous experiences that are particularly useful for developing Pulsar's Topaz project?
Well, this experiences throughout my career have provided the opportunity to work in all the principal phases of project development. My experience have covered a variety of the different asset types and sizes around the globe, working in roles from early opportunity creation, appraisal and development, project execution, and then finally asset operation. This broad background of experience has given me a holistic view of what is needed to move projects from those early phases of exploration through to full asset operation. This is particularly useful for Pulsar as it helps assist with planning an efficient and effective work program to reach the critical final investment decision milestone. Throughout my career, I have worked alongside most disciplines in the oil and gas sector. The close working relationships with and experiences in other functional roles has afforded me the opportunity to understand how the disciplines work together to achieve a common goal, and critically, how to effectively communicate across the disciplines. Disciplinary communication is of significance in my role at Pulsar, where I am accountable for the company complying with the regulatory framework, securing permit approvals for operational activities, executing seismic acquisition programs, executing drilling and completion programs, engaging with local stakeholders on a regular basis to educate them on helium development, and interfacing with government officials from the local community, the state, and federal level. This broad level of experience has given me a unique skill set, enabling me to drive project delivery across widely different work streams.